What if oxygen were to disappear for 10 seconds? Well, the first thing that will happen is that everyone at the beach would get sunburned. Ozone is a gas in the atmosphere that protects every living on the earth from harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun. Without it, the layer of ozone in the atmosphere, it would be very difficult for anything to survive on the surface. Plants cannot live and grow in heavy ultraviolet radiation, nor can the plankton that serve as food for most of the ocean life. The ozone layer acts as a shield to absorb the UV rays and keep them from doing damage at the Earth's surface. Basically, without it, we are toast. The second thing that will happen simultaneously is that every internal combustion engine would stall. Well, an internal combustion engine is a heat engine in which the combustion of a fuel occurs with an oxidizer, usually air, in a combustion chamber that is an integral part of the working fluid flow circuit. In an internal combustion engine, the expansion of high pressure and high temperature gases produced by the combustion applies direct force to some component of the engine. The force is applied typically to the piston, turbine blades, rotor, and a nozzle. This force moves the component over a distance, transforming chemical energy into useful work. All these engines utilize oxygen in the presence of air to burn the fuel. Apart from this, a minimum amount of oxygen is required for combustion to take place. This means that every airplane taking off from a runway would likely crash to the ground, while planes in flight would kite for some time. Well, believe us, you don't want to be in an airplane during this time. The next thing that will happen is that all pieces of untreated metal would instantly spot on weld to one another. This is one of the most interesting side effects. You see, the reason metal don't weld on contact is that they coat it in a layer of oxidation. In vacuum conditions, the metal welds without any intermediate liquid phase. So without the oxygen, the layer of oxidation won't happen and all the pieces of untreated metal would instantly spot on weld to one another. The fourth thing that will happen is that the daytime sky would get darker. The light coming from the sun is scattered by the particles present in air, due to which we can see the blue color of the sky. However, with few particles, the sky would appear less blue and a bit more dark. The fifth thing that will happen simultaneously is that every building made out of concrete would turn into dust. Oxygen is an important binder in concrete structures, and without it, the compounds do not hold their rigidity. Everyone's inner ear would explode. We would lose about 21% of the air surface in an instant, equivalent to being teleported at a height of 2000 meters. The seventh thing that will happen is that the ocean would evaporate and bleed into space. As oxygen disappears from the ocean's water, the hydrogen component becomes an unbound free gas. Well, the next thing that will happen is that everything above the ground would immediately go into a free fall. As oxygen makes up 45% of the Earth's crust and mantle, there is suddenly a lot less stuff beneath your feet to hold everything up. The next, in terms of breathing, we probably wouldn't notice. Our bodies can't detect oxygen deficiency. We can only detect high carbon dioxide levels. As long as carbon dioxide isn't building up in our bodies, we won't feel like we are suffocating. The 10th thing that will happen is that every living cell would explode in a haze of hydrogen gas. As mentioned earlier, water is 1/3 oxygen. Without it, the oxygen turns into gaseous state and expands its volume. Believe us, you don't want this to happen.